Yo, 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 it is Reverse Polarity, episode 31. It's me, your boy, HifiVega. And with me, as always, is the man who never sleeps, the forsaker of red meat, the man who once showed his boobs at Universal Studios for a couple of beads. What's up, Dean?
Okay, I gotta break that one down. So the beats thing, that was all I was thinking about the whole time. So yes, good call there. Um, I was telling Fernando at work today, I was running up the street because someone was chasing me, and I just said it makes the conversation go way easier. And I'm like, something smells good. And then there was a guy grilling in his front yard because he's one of those guys. I don't know if any of you guys out there live in your garage. Have you ever seen those where they turn their
Yeah.
garage into like a screen porch? Where they have the roll down screen. Well, this guy takes it to the next level. He's got like a 50-inch TV out there, 2 Lazy Boy recliners, a couch, his and her fans, neon signs. I mean, this is like, I don't think I've ever jogged past their house and not seen them out there watching something. It's hilarious. But he was out there grilling steaks. And I was like, man, that smells great. It's one of those things that smells great, but I knew it would be like, this tastes like crap.
You've been too long. Even vegetarians like steaks once they go
I'm
bad.
not a vegetarian.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So you should be even more tuned to it.
I don't know. Yeah, there's so many other things that are just
I mean,
way better.
it could have been a pork chop.
It could have
I
been a
don't know
pork
what
chop.
would be better than steak. Now, I'm not a good
I'm
pork chop, a
game
good
for a
piece of
big pork chop.
chicken. Yeah, I mean, I'm down for either as well. But if you're luring me towards that steak, I mean, I'm a steak guy.
So I went to this really expensive steakhouse with Sue because she likes that stuff, and I always get either pork chops or lamb because they have both. And
Yeah.
this threw me off because the guy goes, "How do you want your pork cooked?" I'm like,
Done.
Done.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, you can get it medium rare. I'm like, no, I can't. He
Yeah.
goes, no, it's different now. We need better cuts and all. So I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, I want this stuff cooked all the way through.
Right.
Cut it, check it, and then bring it to me. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
There's no medium, nothing.
If you grew up in the 70s and 80s, there was plenty of commercials to tell you to never eat your pork less than done.
And trust me, they're right.
Yeah.
That was a really bad 2 days.
It can be.
I didn't eat pork chop for like 6 months after that one.
So it's basically like when you get sick off of a certain type of alcohol, you never want to have it again for a while.
I'm gonna assume yes, but yeah, that was rough, man. Oh man, I got hammered on that. What's up, Scott?
He got to meet with Mr. John Meyer today. Got to hang out with him.
No kidding.
The wizard.
Did I ever tell you my John Meyer story?
No.
Okay, so this was the first trip to Kicker. And picture this table. All right, so it's me. Next to me is Steve Irby. Across from me is Lori, who's in the comments all the time, and John Myers. So it's the 4 of us at a table. All this crazy commotion and just going on in the back, and everyone's running around. And it's the 4 of us, bowl of ranch, a bowl of pickles, and Lori goes, "Hey, hi. Have you ever, have you guys ever met?" And I'm like, "I know who you are," and he goes, "What are you, somebody special?" I've never heard of you. And I'm like, no, that's okay. And Steve's like, hey, he's got a YouTube show, when he does, and we did an interview thing. He goes, oh, that's cool. And I said, no, I'm like, hey, it's no big deal, man. It's like, it's nothing. We're, and I mean, we're great friends now. Totally cool. But it was just funny because he's like, I've never heard of you. Like, it's all right. And I told him, I said, I want to thank you. And I said, because years ago, when we got Warhorse trained, because that was actually a thing, they brought you in and they trained you on the Warhorse, and it wasn't the Kicker, it was a conference room, and they told you all about it and how to set it up, how it works, how not to kill yourself, and all those other fun things. And then you got a certificate, which I, of course, like an idiot, lost. And one of the things he was talking about at the time, he had just done some rock stars Cadillac.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how, they took it all in and they put a 4-channel in it, a monoblock. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, what? They put a 4-channel in it? What are you talking about? How did, like, I'm going, that factory radio is like, it's like a 10-channel amplifier and there's all this shit going on. And like, how did he do that? I mean, keep in mind, this is like Warhorse, when Warhorse came out time. So that was a long freaking time ago. And so after the class, I went up to him. I said, excuse me, Mr. Myers. I said, I have a question. He's like, what? I said, how did you get a signal out of that radio to go into your 4-channel amplifier? I said, because there's like a tweeter channel, a mid-range. Oh, he goes, well, we summed it. I go, okay, keep going. Keep going. Because this is before summing was even a thing. The LC7i didn't exist. So he explained to me, okay, at the time, they just bought an interface company, which I, for the life of me, can't remember who it was, which I'm sure my buddy Joe will be pissed because that's the company he worked for when he came to Kicker. And Soundgate, they just bought Soundgate. And so Soundgate's high level to low level adapters were transformer based instead of crappy diode resistor based crap, sandstone resistors and all that bull. So transformer-based high-level to low-level adapters you can use as a summing device because the signal will not go feed back into the opposite channel. So like we did a video a while back called Poor Man's Summing Device where we took LP74s from PAC and we used those to sum together a bunch of signals and all that other fun stuff. And at the time, I mean, it blew my mind. I was like, and I was like, we got to get these because, I had no idea what they were. And he said, yeah, I use these and these, that's what they do. And I was like, we got to get these. We got to get these. And so I ended up talking to an engineer at Amp. I was like, dude, check this out, man. They use these Soundgate things. And he's like, he's like, hold on. And he looks them up. And this is back when the internet was basic. And he goes, dude, that's a Perfield, P2. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, that's the same. That's you have them on the shelf. And I go,
hey,
what?
McFly.
And he goes, yeah, you have them on the shelf. You go, walk over to your peripheral adapters, Vendetta 2. I said, okay. He goes, pop the top off. He goes, there you go. He goes, walk over to the P35s. Slide them out. That's the difference. And I was like, I'm going to hang up on you now.
Yeah.
But John Myers set me on that path of, oh, wow, we didn't know that because until then it was just, and even Jeff, because if you ever get a chance to have Jeff tell you the story between him and audio control, because he was one of the guys that helped bring about the LC7i.
Oh,
okay.
Man.
If it wasn't for him, that product wouldn't exist because they came and they saw him, one of the guys and some of the audio control guys, and they're like, hey, what are you doing here? He's like, I'm using why do you have all these high level to low level adapters? He goes, because I'm summing the signal together and I need that to do that. And they were just like,
we can do that.
We can do that.
Yeah.
we can do that way better than this.
Yeah.
So that led to, as he tells it, the development of the LC7i. So, or I'm sorry, at the time it would have been the LC6i because that was first.
Yeah. Well, which is basically still kind of the gold standard for stuff like that.
It's funny too. I always laugh because it's like we tried so hard to get everyone to buy good high level to low level adapters. It was like, please stop buying P35s. Please stop buying these things. Buy an LC2i, buy an LC6i, buy an LC7i. And they make an LC8i too. A lot of people don't understand that. It's like there's an LC8i. And the LC8i is really cool because it has an auxiliary input, which I wouldn't buy anything other than an LC8i because I want that auxiliary input because you can plug a Bluetooth dongle into it. You can plug your phone directly into it. And it has a volume knob that it comes with. So it's like there's so many things you could do with this that everyone's sitting there going, how do I get another source? Like I had a guy the other day, another dealer. It's like, I'm trying to do this. What do I do? And I'm like, what do you have? And he's like, I have these. And I said, do you have an LC8i? He goes, yeah. I said, go open the box.
You got it right there, bro. You just got to look. Appreciate it, Nava.
He texted me back about an hour later and he was like, dude, I had no idea.
Well, and now amps are so advanced that almost every amp you buy from a big company, JL, Kicker, they have this built in right into it, audio control.
Yeah, I mean they have way better high level to low level adapters than they've had in the past for sure.
Yeah.
When Rockford came out with the R2 series, one of the things that they added that a lot of amplifier manufacturers are eventually going to add and catch up to is the ability to turn off DC offset. Because, pardon me, this stuff makes you burp, by the way. It's fizzy water with flavor.
Enhance the burp sound.
Yeah. So one of the problems is like audio control has GTO, and they have GTO on and off. And that stands for great turn on. I know someone's mind just exploded. Anyways, GFA from Adcom was great fucking amplifier. RFL was really fucking loud. We've got a bunch of those stupid acronyms that are clearly Guy invented for which I'm sure now you guys will just flood the comments with those. So by all means, I enjoy the hell out of it. But the problem is like with DC offset, some of the amplifiers, if you hook up high level, it immediately only gives you the option for DC offset.
Yeah.
And if your DC offset isn't functioning for whatever reason, like some of the new cars don't use 6 volts of DC offset, they use 3 volts of DC offset. Kicker with their, what is it? It's something 2 now is whatever the hell it's called. It's on the
KX amps.
Yes, it's the second version of it. That'll read down to 3 volts for DC offset now. But what you're seeing is some of these Class D amplifiers that are in these radios, the DC offset isn't reliable. So,
I learned that the hard way.
A lot of people learned it the hard way. I mean, we learned it the hard way on a Toyota. It was just like, oh, crap. But the problem you run into is if you don't have that way to turn off DC offset, then it's like it doesn't matter how great the high level to low level adapter is. You're going to have to go external because you have to go. It's using that auto sense feature, which totally sucks. Like we ran into that problem all the time with the older Prime amplifiers and the Pioneer amplifiers. So like when we started filming videos, we'd always use the LP72s from PAC. And we'd get like people be like, bro, why are you using a high level to low level adapter? It's got one built into it. What the hell? You guys call yourself installers. I'm like, okay, first things first, bro. When you're installing one of these and it works, kudos to you. Try installing 10 of these and 9 of them come back. Then, you can because, this is what we do for a living. We had to solve this. If one comes back, that's it. We have to fix all of them, whether they need it or not. So it was just like, and there's no way to know until you're done. So it's just like, screw it. It's just getting this. And that's the blanket answer for everything.
Well, and that's why you always run a remote wire too now, just in case. I mean, that's a good thing. And I will always run a remote wire from now on because I got burned.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about using speed wire too. Because it's like it's not
it's there. Yeah, it's right there.
It's like, but
appreciate
wow,
it.
we actually talked about car stereo for like the first 15 minutes of the show.
We threw them off, dude.
What the hell?
Appreciate it, David. I think that's why we got the super chats. We talked about car audio and they're like, oh Jesus, they're doing what we asked them.
It's funny. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, you know what?
Damn, we should
talk what happens? They're like, they figured out like if you ask us to do something, chances are we're going to do the exact opposite. Or if you demand it, if you ask nicely, we'll consider it, and then probably talk shit about whatever you asked, and then still not do it. And then later on, we're gonna be like, oh, we're tired of not doing this. Now we're going to do this.
Yeah. So is there a pole and that one that you spin down?
Yeah.
In the bedroom? Like, hey, baby.
There is one.
Awesome.
All right. And guess what? It is car audio related. Can you believe that?
Iron law, choose wisely.
You can either have perfect imaging with middling tonality, perfect tonality with middling imaging, perfect soundstage with middling tonality and imaging, or a 6.5 out of 10 in every category.
So average.
Right.
So whatever I pick has to have perfect imaging because I can't stand sound coming out of the left and right that doesn't have focus. But I also, you know,
Yeah.
I want the perfect world, I guess, because it needs to be here, but then everything else needs to dance around it, or it's just not any fun for me. If it sounds wonderful, but it sounds like it's just coming out of the driver's side of the car, I don't like that.
So you're with the 2% here. Perfect
Yeah.
imaging with middling tonality. I would probably, honestly, I think the polls got it right for me here. I would just be average in every category,
Yeah.
or the perfect soundstage with, I don't know, the tonality is very important to me.
Yeah.
Even over imaging.
Well, in the Mustang, it has an option for driver and all. If you turn it to driver, it centers like perfect, but there's no left, there's nothing. It's just a center image, and it sounds like there's one speaker in the whole car. So it sounds like a AM radio coming out of the center of your dash of your Corvette. Oh, it sounds terrible. But when I was like, oh, that's neat. And then I started playing music, and I was like, wait a minute, none of the other speakers are on.
This is only good for podcast.
Yeah, perfect. It is great for podcasts, but everything else sounds like crap. So then I just put it back to all, and I balanced over to the passenger just a little bit to move, probably more than a little bit, to move the soundstage over that way. So now I actually have the whole front of the car, but the main vocal is coming out of the center-ish area.
It's got that much control in the factory head unit?
Every radio has that much control. Balance and fader is a beautiful thing. Most people don't understand.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you can listen. Center image comes down to, yes, delay, but it also comes down to level control. So you can use level control. They've been using level control for years to get a center image. I mean, center image was level control and EQ. So we don't have EQ, but we have level control. So we can shift. I mean, if everything sounds like it's coming out of your speaker in front of your face, if I make this quieter, that's going to make this one louder. Anytime you do that, it's going to start shifting the sound that way, because once you put in your time alignment numbers, if it's still off and you've adjusted it 1 or 2 inches either way and it's still off drastically, well, then you go to level control and you start pulling down one speaker, or up another, depending on how you set your car up. And that's going to move the image towards the center of the vehicle. So level control is very important.
That's a pro tip. We did have one comment here. He says, "Am I last discovers?" It says, "Am I stupid for not knowing what this is?" And I said, "No, absolutely not. It's some SQ nerdery."
Yeah. I mean,
and it's not for everybody. Some people just want to put a system in to jam it.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that like terms suck, okay? Especially when you're describing sound. So it's like center image. What's the center image? Because like we've debated it before.
Left of center.
Image. Yeah, is center image right in front of me because it's dead center in front of me, or center image, like over here in the center of the vehicle. And there again, the center of the vehicle or the center of the sound stage. This is one of the things Jeff was talking about. Meaning you have to have equal distance. So like depending on him and I were sitting in a car together, and I go, I have a question. He goes, what? And I said, is it supposed to sound like the sound stage is 3 inches to the left or right? I don't remember what it was. And he goes, technically, yeah, because you're aiming for, like, if you drew lines out, then that would have to be there, and that would give you the technical center. And I was like, that sounds terrible. Like,
I don't like it.
It sounded like it's wrong, because I was like, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Why is he sitting over there playing the drums?
Yeah, it's just weird. But there again, so I mean, center is in that. There's no wrong answer to any of it, okay? And that's what a lot of people get caught up on. Is I feel that they feel, okay. There's a couple of things that people get hung up on that it's like I bang my head into the wall. One is, does it sound the best it could possibly do? Like, for some reason, if God himself were to come down and sit in your car right then at that very moment, and he'd go, I mean, really? Like you paid all this and this is what you got, you know?
Yeah.
Down, see you, elevator, straight to the bottom, you know? And it's like, and people get so hung up on that. It's like, it's okay. It's okay to play with it, to figure it out, to rock something for a little while and be like, you know, I kind of like the way this sounds. Try something different and go, no, I really like the way that sounded. Put it back to that. There's no one that's going to come along and say, bro, this sucks. Now, if you sit in something and you immediately go, man, this ain't for me, that's okay. It's not for you. But if the guy driving it, you know, like says, no, man, you're nuts. This is like the shit. It might be for him. Who knows? He might not hear that well. You know, exactly. I sat in a guy's car the other day. He goes, hey, my wife's complaining that the stereo is making a buzzing noise. I go, really? He goes, yeah. I was like, you know, okay, that's weird. So we sit in the car and I get in there. I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, do you hear it? And I'm like, you don't? He goes, no, not at all. My wife won't even ride in the car. I'm like, dude, that's insane. Like, that's like legit insane sound. Like it sounds like you have a 1970s photo strobe powering up in this thing. This is nuts. He goes, wow, really? It's that bad? I go, have you had your ears checked lately? You're a young guy. Holy crap.
He's just been shooting guns right by his ear. Bah, 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 bah.
I don't know what he's been doing, but man, that was so bad. And I mean, I could hear it with the doors open. He's like, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. And I was like, yeah, I can hear it. It's like, it's right at that frequency that's like, oh. I mean, I have that constant ringing in my ears anyways, but Jesus. So
well, I've got that gap in my hearing just from working in a factory for so long.
Oh,
that it makes me. I'd like to have a little bit brighter tweak. I don't like to melt your face off, but I like brighter than what most people would consider like a pure sound quality setup.
My leg is Charlie horsing. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude. Hey, you ain't telling me, man. Talk about side jags. I was fighting it bad. And Derek, I mean, my face, I can't imagine what kind of face I was making.
Oh, my God.
Finally, he looks, he's like, you okay? I was like, dude, I got a wicked Charlie horse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the run. It's like, I bent it the right way. It just went, oh, hey. I was like, oh, God. Ow.
Well, I like the ones that are just hanging on, waiting for you to move. Like, please move. I dare you.
Pete,
appreciate it,
man.
Pete.
Totally forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah, the Charlie horse. He gets you. talking about that good old soundstage. Did you have some? What did you have that we didn't talk about last week? Or wait, before we get to that, we talked about car audio. What have you been watching?
Oh, good, thank you. So, a buddy of mine, Nathan, he's been on the show a couple times. He works at Amp Global. Good friend of mine. He's the guy that got me into the job. Like, he called me up and got me my first job because everyone got fired or everyone got arrested. So he got me my first job. He's like, hey, man, do you want to come down here? And I was like, yeah. And so he's the reason why I'm in this. So I don't know if I should like him or hate him, but it's his fault. So anyways, we went out to dinner Saturday night and to catch up and do all that fun stuff. And he's like, dude, what are you watching on Netflix? And I was like, nothing. Right now I'm watching The Nevers on HBO. And he goes, is it any good? I was like, it's awesome. I kind of explained to him. He goes, dude, I got to watch that. It's the kind of stuff I like. And he goes, I just got done watching the show. And he goes to his wife. He goes, hey, what was the name of that show? And she looks at him. Total wife mood. Looks at him and goes, I didn't watch that stupid show. And he's like, thanks. Hold on. I'll look it up. So there's a show called Shadow and Bone.
Oh, I've seen, it's a new one.
Yeah, brand new, 8 episodes. Watched the whole thing in one sitting. Very dumb.
Dude.
Very dumb. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning when I went to bed.
Just recommend because I'm going to type it in my notes right now.
It was, there again, interesting whiteboard that they threw up there. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and they set it up for dude, now they know, man. It's like, we're going to end this story and we're just going to roll right into the next one. It's like, here, this is what you guys want. Here's the answers to those questions. And with those questions answered, here's a whole bunch of new ones. And we're out. See you next time.
Yeah. You mean like Doom Patrol done me?
Everyone does you. Yes. Oh, you
I
finished
finished.
it.
I finished. Yes. I was
Dude,
like,
was that
my wife's
when's the
like,
next
this,
season?
dude. My wife begrudgingly is into Doom Patrol because, like I
Yeah.
said, we watch TV together. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
that's the only time we watch TV.
Yep.
And she was fighting it, playing on her phone. She finally got into it, and when that ended, she's like, "No, this is not the last episode, is it?" And I was like, "This is the last episode." It's like, "This is the last episode, the very last episode." I was like, "Well, they're coming out with another season."
Yeah.
She's like, "Yeah, that's bullshit." I was like,
Dude,
yeah,
I
it is.
love it when you can rile up the women like that, and they're just like, I didn't even like this show, and this is how it ends?
Right, and it's just like
Are you kidding me?
the big
I'm
candle
not
man.
watching any more TV with you. Yeah.
I'm gone.
Oh,
Out.
yeah,
Deuces.
and like the robot, he got the worst. So,
oh yeah, what's gonna happen with him?
oh, dude, and
He's the best. Like if they kill him, I'm done with it,
no,
man.
they're not gonna kill him.
No, they can't.
I mean, whatever's gonna happen will come back in the next episode. The dude in the wheelchair, Professor X ripoff character, he'll get all better, and he'll get to
He
live.
is Professor X.
He's like
I don't
a
know why I
drunk
didn't think
Professor
about
X.
that.
I mean, yeah, they're all that. So yes.
The marshal is in the house. Appreciate it, brother.
But yeah, no, when that ended, I was just like,
yeah,
come on, man. I mean, he was gonna go to the wedding.
Yeah, like his shit's done.
Yeah, and how about the whole shout out scene where his legs like locked up?
Yeah,
and you had to like talk about.
And the dude was taking the pictures with him, and yeah.
Like talk about like the biggest waste of time in the show. It's like we need an extra 5 minutes. I have a great idea. We're gonna lock his legs, and he's gonna do shout outs. What?
Right?
Are you kidding? It'll work. Trust me, it'll work. I don't think so. No, it'll work. Trust me.
Yeah.
Damn, it worked.
Like,
because the whole time you're watching,
the Subaru kid, he just comes up with the vape, and yeah,
the whole time you're watching, you're going, "This is so stupid," but I'm with it because he's just cussing and you're just like, it was great, but
it was.
So Shadow and Bones, if you can get through the first episode, because it kind of sets up the whole story, it just kind of goes, and as it goes, it perpetually gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it starts to make a little bit more sense and a little bit more sense, and then finally at the end you get rewarded with the answers you're hoping for,
with new questions,
and you're like, okay, I'm good with this.
It's like when you win a bet and they're like, okay, here's your money, or if you want, we can double down. And maybe you'll double this money, or maybe not. Maybe the second season will be absolutely terrible, but you're already invested. So,
yeah, we won't get the second season till this time in 2022. So who cares?
Right. Well,
go ahead.
I've got a guilty pleasure watch.
Ooh.
Have you ever watched The Circle on Netflix, dude? I don't know
you
why.
And Haley just would.
We have to make compromises. If I'm gonna watch Doom Patrol, I know. If I'm gonna watch Doom Patrol, right?
Yes.
I have to give up. We have to watch something. And she got me into the first season. I watched it and I was like, okay. And then listen, Lance Bass is on this season.
Which one's Lance Bass?
In Sync.
He's on it?
Yeah. Well, you'd have to watch it.
I've watched it. They watch it every 5 episodes because they release 5 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
So it's on every night while I'm editing, going, why are you guys watching? This is the dumbest damn show ever.
It is stupid. I can't even argue with it, but for whatever reason, that's my guilty pleasure watch. I actually do enjoy it. And yeah, I would recommend it to no one.
No. God, no. Unless you're a 17-year-old girl.
Oh, Jesse caught me. I mean, hey, if you're gonna pick another dude, you could do worse than Lance Bass. I'm just gonna say it.
I don't know, man, but yes, they watch that, and I'm just like, I don't know what's worse, that or the challenge. So Haley loves the challenge too, and I was like, oh my god, will this just end?
Yeah,
but so next, Florida Bama Shore is almost over. So that'll end, and then she'll roll right into Siesta Key. And the whole time I'll be trying to stab my eyes out with forks.
See, I can't go that far. I'll go one show. We've watched that, and then the other show that we watched was Too Hot to Handle, which a girl
Never heard
from
of that one, thank God.
It's on Netflix as well. Ask Kaylee. I'm sure she knows.
Oh, yeah.
A girl from that first season is on the second season of The Circle.
Okay. I haven't watched The Bad Batch yet.
Did you watch last night, 12 You Talk? Did you catch any of it?
Just that part where you made fun of me. And a little bit after that.
Did you catch where I made fun of Derek?
No, damn it. No.
Dude, there was a I think it was a woman in chat, Chrissy C.
Yes,
she was
yeah. I saw that. Yes, I caught some of that.
And then apparently she was after Big D, and when Matt said that,
he was after Big D.
Right. When he said that, dude, I absolutely lost it. He broke me. I couldn't take it. I was like, okay, I didn't want to say it, but since you did, Matt, I'm gonna go ahead and laugh at it.
No, I did catch some of that, and I was like, so that started happening. He obviously, sorry, heat shrink is the best connection, but can you put the rest that a crimp cap besides being ugly? No, yeah, oh no, 100%. Dude, listen. All right, so before we get into the whole, all right, so hold on. Last night Sue wanted to talk to me right when that stuff started happening.
Yeah,
so I had to shut the stream down. Back to crimp caps. So obviously we all know I've been doing this for too damn long. And I used to have an AVE. We had me who was basically what happened over the years of working at. It graduated to me being in the back, being the fabricator. So I would do all the fabrication, all the building, and all that other fun stuff. And I had two installers that worked with me. And so they would either do their own thing, and I would be like, okay, we got to put this and we got to do that. Or because what would usually happen is when I'd have a full fabrication job, I would do the whole thing from start to finish because it was just way easier than getting them involved. Sometimes they would help me. Most of the time they wouldn't. Sometimes I'd stop what I was doing, build them a box, and then go back to working on the car I was working on. But a long story long, we had this giant L-shaped workbench. And in front of everyone's workstation were bins of connectors that we made. So troughs, think of like feed troughs.
Yeah.
And so it was like every size ring terminal, every size butt connector, every size T-tap, every size spade terminal, all of those. But in front of both of their workstations, because you just go and grab what you needed but in front of their workstation, you can buy crimp caps $1,000 per bag.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how Amp sells them. So there was two big troughs, one here, one on the other one where that guy stood. And dude, that's all we used to put radios in were crimp caps, go, crimp caps, go, crimp caps, go. So for years, that was the thing. Yes, you'd have a big old mushroom head on the end, stuff it in the dash, and you go. I can tell you now, if you put a crimp cap on properly so that it won't rip off, you will never have a problem. It's a wire-to-wire connection that is, smashed together with insulation on top of it. They're just ugly. That's it. That is 100% the problem with them. There's nothing wrong with them. They don't look good. So, all right, listen. In a world where we're complaining that Prince Charming is kissing Snow White at the end of the ride because, he's doing an unwanted sexual advance on her. He's saving her freaking life. In a world where that is a conversation that people actually have, I could see where crimp caps don't exist anymore because, we're all a bunch of foo-foo-y loving, like, oh my God, he didn't use Tech Flex. Oh, he's not using Tessa tape. Oh my God, it's so.
I've seen that same exact argument probably 2 months ago on a Facebook group.
Oh yeah,
it's like he didn't use Tech Flex. He just wrapped it in Tessa tape. Like, dude, who cares? Like, what's wrong with Tessa tape, anyways?
So there's a time and a place for everything, and like we all have to realize that. And like braided loom, is braided loom 100% necessary? Nah. Does it look cool? Hell yeah. But for the most part, We use it to serve a purpose. We're running a power wire through a car that's getting put all over, zip tied in, and the factory uses some form of loom to cover their wires, either via tape and or accordion loom. Sometimes they use some form of tech flex, but they are covering their wire with something as they run it through to protect the wire from shear effect and rubbing on things. So we do the same thing. Okay. That's the only reason why we do it. We do it. The factory's doing it. We're going to do it. Does it need it? I don't know. Probably no. I mean, I can just think of the years and years and years of installs that we've done where we didn't use it and we never had a problem. But it only takes one problem. Like I said earlier, it only takes one time something goes stupid. Is it going to stop a screw? No, it's not. But if you have it on a piece of metal like this and it's there, it's going to rub that, and it's not going to rub out the outside of the wire. The shielding on the wire jacket. So there's just a lot of things. And one of the things that irritates me is like Tessa tape. Okay, Tessa tape has a purpose. It's a shield tape. It's not a finishing tape in the sense that, like, if you solder two wires together and you wrap it in Tessa tape, back the train up, that's not how it's supposed to go. Tessa tape would be something you put around the whole bundle as an insulator, not as an electrical insulator. It's not made to do that. It is a cloth tape. And those little thingies will poke through it and short out. You need 3M vinyl tape, just like the sheathing that goes the jacket of the wire, or you're not doing it right. And I'll see people use that stuff all the time, and I'll be like,
I've seen it too, to use it as electrical. Although Tessa does sell their own electrical tape.
Oh yeah, it's probably awesome because
I'm sure it is. but
it all turns to sticky goo at some point. I mean,
the Tessa tape's the absolute worst at it. 3M tape's bad too, but
the 3M sucks. I mean, the problem is you live in a hot state like Florida. Doesn't matter what tape you use. It's just like, man, this stuff's gonna suck in a year. But that's it.
Greg, appreciate it, man. Great show, guys. We talked about car audio today.
Yeah,
what's up with that?
We're trying. I know, right?
What didn't we talk about last week that you wanted to get to?
Okay, so we were talking about old items that don't exist anymore, and one of the items that
wait, I got to stop you. Perfect show idea.
Dean's right.
Segment. Yeah, Dean's right. Like on something you were right about. You just have a little segment on the.
It doesn't happen that often. Yeah.
Dean was right.
Dean was right. Dean is not right now, but Dean was right. Yeah. So Kenwood used to make this. The problem is in the world of car audio, things always happen before they're supposed to happen. Okay, so they're always pushed. They used to. They don't anymore. They used to push the boundaries and come out with things that we didn't know we needed yet. And by the time they're discontinued and gone, we've just about figured out how to use them, and then they leave. One of those things was the system that Kenwood used to have that was geared around integration into a factory display screen. So it was a whole big radio that was just a brain box. Okay, so it had 6-channel preamp output, had an EQ, had changer capabilities, had an FM tuner built into it, had all these ports. I don't know if it probably had Bluetooth, but this was kind of like right before Bluetooth became really like, oh my God, you don't have Bluetooth? And what you would do is it had a video out, and you'd buy interfaces to where you could either hook it up to their touch screen and control it remotely from there, your FM. So it would just be like an external monitor, kind of where we're at right now with all these. Or you could use a factory screen via some form of integration, and then they had a remote control you could use. Yeah. And then they were supposed to come out with a little keypad about yay big that you just mount into the dash, kind of like what we have now for a lot of these commanders. But this was one of those systems, like they sent us this whole big display. I mean, it was insanity. It was like, wow, man. And like, we didn't even know what we could do. Like, we put maybe 2 of them in, and we didn't really understand it. No one did. It was so far ahead of its time. Whereas like now we would kill for something like this.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, imagine that with an iPad and an app that's on the iPad to use with it.
Oh yeah,
Dude, that'd be incredible.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was just this really neat piece. But I mean, you look at all these floating screens now that are in the dash. It's not as hard as it used to be to get like an input into it.
Yeah.
So you could do this to where you could toggle between the factory and this, and it's just one of those pieces that it was just so cool long before cool ever existed, and it would have been neat to see how that would have played out by like if it could have evolved from where it was back in the early 2000s to where it would be now, 15 years later, 20 years later. It probably would have been like the benchmark for doing all this silly stuff. And the funny part is like it was the precursor to the floating monitor, because you could buy an 8-inch touchscreen to control it and put it wherever you wanted.
Right.
Because it was just a headrest monitor that like is 8-inch touchscreen, just act as a radio. But nobody got it.
Was it resistive? Was it a resistive touchscreen? It probably was, huh?
Probably was. It was, I don't even think capacitive touch was even like a thing back then. But it was
capacitive touch just started being a thing in car audio. It didn't seem like that long ago. 10 years ago.
No, because it was way too expensive. And the only reason why we have it is because of these. I mean,
for sure.
To be honest, if they wouldn't have made it a thing, then we would have never got it.
We'd still be using styluses in our car, or just pushing the screen really hard.
Dude, you wouldn't even have a stylus, man. You'd just be like, tune up. Big green buttons. But no, that was a really cool thing that so here's a story of the evolution of money spent in a vendor. Alpine, as I said, is the ultimate company that does this. They just destroy their line. We were an Alpine dealer, and Alpine OEM makes tons of products for lots of car manufacturers. So their parent company is a company called Alps Electronics. If you've never heard of them, just type in ALPS. That's who actually owns Alpine. And it's a huge company. They make switches and buttons and dials and keyboards and microprocessors. They make all this stuff, which is funny because when those big touchscreens came out, whatever the hell those were called, and they were so slow and acted so crappy. And the two Japanese corporate guys came in and they were talking to me, and they go, oh, for us, it's very hard to get a microprocessor and button. And I go, do you think I fell off the turnip truck yesterday? You guys are owned by Alps Electronics. They make all this stuff. If you guys can't get good parts, that's on you, because Pioneer's not having a problem doing it, and they don't own an electronics company. So I don't know what you guys are having a problem with. I think you just bought crap. They didn't like me. They've never been back. But anyway, so for Honda, they made the 6-disc CD changer. Okay. So, and they charged Honda, you had to buy it with a bracket and whatnot. And so you had to buy the Honda changer. Well, PAC Peripheral at the time came out with a $15 adapter because it was just 2 wires switched in the harness. Okay. It was really tough. They came out with a $15 cable. We were selling 100 changer pallets at a time.
Wow.
Okay. So there was like a 8-month period where like we sold probably 800 CD changers.
Jeez.
Like Alpine could not make these, and everybody did. It wasn't like it was just us. It was like you literally, once this cable came out, you went to every Honda dealership in your town and you were like, hey man, you want to buy this? It's like this. And it was like $150 cheaper than what they could buy it from Honda for. Everybody was buying them. Then Honda freaked out and went to Alpine and was all pissy, and then that stopped. But so, all right, so here you go. So you're a dealer now, and you just sold 800 CD changers at $250 a piece. All right, that goes to your quota. Then they had the 110 band pass. I don't know if you remember the 110 band pass they used to make. That had a little plexi window on it. It was like 12 by 12 by 24.
Yeah,
had an S-type woofer in it. It was $150, and it was the best bass you could possibly buy. You could put this in with our little 302 amplifier, and it would just pound, man. It was so sexy. We were buying pallets of these things. Like everyone was getting this woofer. It's It's like, what do you want? You just need to, it was like our precursor to the Rockford P300 amplified subwoofer. It was like, because it was $150, you could buy a $120 amplifier, $300 in parts, $500 put it in, and you're done. You're banging. Everyone's happy. It's like, oh, this is so awesome. Yay. So we were buying them 15, 20 at a time every month. And we would just go through these things like water. And then they discontinued them. So now you have Honda screwed the changers. Alpine pulls the plug on those. And then Alpine used to be the distributor for Sirius XM. Okay. Before DEI got it. And so you had to buy all your Sirius XM from them because they were making their own Sirius XM tuners. So we were buying tons of Sirius XM tuners. And then that, of course, Sirius XM with the DEI and our Audio Box Now. And they were like, hey, we'll just do this. We don't want to deal with all this. All right. So there's, all this done, dried up. And then they decide that they're going to get out of the alarm business. This is all in 1 year. Okay. This is like all in 1 year. They decided they're going to get out of the alarm business.
Just got out of business altogether. Almost.
Yeah, and like we had made the decision that the only alarms we were going to carry were the Alpine because they were bulletproof. Like you put them in a car, you never saw them back. All these other alarms, like the Viper stuff, God rest, hey, whatever. But man, they just weren't built to the level that these were because these alarms were made to go into BMWs, so they had to be built to last 5 years. It was the same alarm. It was incredible. So I was like, dude, let's just sell these. So that's what we sold. And then they decided, hey, we're going to get out of the alarm business. And it was like, oh my God.
Did they sell it to anybody or what?
No, they just stopped. It went back to the factory side, the aftermarket, because they couldn't just get it. They couldn't sell, millions of them or whatever it was. They were like, yeah, bye. I'm just going to be done with this. Damn. So it was like, so then the head guy comes in. So the reps bring in the head guy, regional sales manager is what they're called. Okay, and the regional sales manager is responsible for like the whole East Coast United States. And this little douchebag comes in. And, at the time, we weren't real happy because it was like, they're taking money from us. These are all products we sold and did really well with. Well, he comes in. This is the next year. He comes in and they got all their little paperwork and whatnot. And they're like, hey, man. And what it was is there was a dealer down the street that wanted to sell Alpine. They had been a dealer before, and they were promising them the world. And so they came into us and they're like, hey, man, what's going on? I'm like, what do you mean what's going on? Well, your numbers are down. What do you mean my numbers are down? And they're like, we're on track. Who's on track to do what? And he goes, what do you mean who's on track? We're on track to where we're supposed to be. And he goes, what math are you looking at? And he's like, what math are you looking at? He goes, well, here's where you were this time last year, and here's where you are now. And my owner was like, okay, this is where you're wrong. And he says, all right, take this out of the equation, take this out of the equation, take this out. These are all products you don't make anymore that we were buying. You stopped making these. So now here's what we did in these last year because he knew they were coming. And here's what we're doing in this. So we're right on track to do it. Well, that's not how it works. He goes, that's exactly how it works. If you stop making products, I can't sell other stuff that you don't sell to make up the difference. If you're no longer in those categories, that's not how it works. Well, that's just ridiculous. He goes, no, it's not. And they get in this pissing match, and there's assholes exchanged and motherfuckers, and you get the fuck out of my store, and you can take your brand and shove it sideways up your ass. And that's how we no longer were an Alpine dealer after that point. But it was, I'm just sitting there, and I'm just sitting back there watching it going, I should be taking notes. Because it's very educational. But, it was one of those moments where it was like, this company, and they ended up dropping us naturally because once he started cussing to us and we cussed back, you're done at that point because you've just lost the whole row. You're done. It's like
the facade of professionalism has melted away at that point.
And it was like, and you're just looking at your rep, and your rep is just sitting there going, this is not how I saw this going. And so it's like, get your shit, get the fuck out of the store, and if you want to take the inventory we have with you, by all means take it, because screw you guys. I don't need this headache. Kenwood at the time was just kicking its ass. So and they're getting nothing against Alpine. We're an Alpine dealer right now. We sell tons of Alpine. I have nothing against Alpine. It was just one of those situations where it was like this manufacturer changed their business, and then they just expected us to be cool with it.
You pick up the slack that they quit. Yeah.
You know, and it was like, no,
Alpine's
man.
bad about, like, you know, Alpine, like their subwoofers, the Type R, those are very underrated subwoofers. They get
Here's the
loud.
problem.
They sound pretty good.
Here's the problem with the Type R. Type R is an excellent product line. It has been an excellent product line. The problem is the Type R has been an excellent product line for 20 years now. 15 years. They've been running with R type and S type so those replaced Z type. So originally it was like Z. They were tire ratings that they originally went off. They had they had the purple one, they had the white one.
Yeah.
And then they
had the DDD drive or whatever.
DD drives. Yeah. I used to have the cutaway of that. I threw it away. I'm so angry with myself. Yeah, you had the DD drive stuff, but so, you know, now we have the SRX and we had the Z. The Z was a normal basket driver, white cone, silver basket.
With those look cool. The ZRs.
Yeah, and that had like a 3-inch voice coil on it.
Those were dope, dude. The look of them, like they look so.
It was elegant as shit. And dude, let me tell you what, you could put that in any box, and it would just go crazy. That was my go-to woofer, like, because shallow woofers really didn't exist back then. But if I had to build it, like I had to, I always have to build that box. It's just like, this isn't gonna work, guys. It'll be fine. No, legit, like this isn't gonna work. And they're like, yeah, you're fine. I was like, all right, give me an X type, or give me that, and I put the whatever Z type, and I'd put that in it, and it'd be like,
it worked.
And they'd be like, "Oh, see, I told you it was going to work." I'm like, "That's got nothing to do with me, man. You told me
I made it work.
No, we put the right woofer in there, man. It worked because it'll work in a shoebox. Okay, screw you guys, freaking morons."
I told you. They told you. Yeah. The W7's been out for a very long time.
So, anyways, the problem with that is the R type needs to disappear, and they need to bring new life back into it. Like, I'm all for, like, this week Sony is releasing they're re-releasing the EOS or ES or G, whatever ES system or whatever the high-end Sony stuff is.
They're bringing it back, the elevated standard.
Yeah. That's all coming back.
Wow.
It's going to be speakers first because of COVID, and then it'll transition into, like, we knew it was coming. They told us like last year, like, yeah, we're coming out with all this really cool stuff, but don't tell anyone that we're coming out with really cool stuff. And I was like, hey, your secret's safe with me. But it's going to be a full line. It's going to be really cool. And there again, it's something that has been off the market for a really long time. And now it's back, and it's like, oh, this was all that really awesome Sony stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Alpine, the S and R just need to disappear.
And bring back something else. Yeah.
And just bring something else in that isn't those, because it's like, dude, your kid could, like when you were in high school, you could, or when you were younger, you could have bought an R-type woofer and grown up, and now your kid could be buying an R-type woofer.
Right.
That's boring. I don't want to do that. It's
hopefully they don't, because Sony has been at this before. So they got the GS amps that they have now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was really just nice. They were just the G amps before. They sold them before for $100 cheaper.
Yeah.
Then they put the S, and they're like, there's a GS.
But the GS amps are really nice. Like,
yeah, I mean, the amps were nice before, though. The same ones.
Yeah. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
you got to change the model number every now and then so it looks good on the internet.
Well, and it went with their higher end, GS component set.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And all that GS stuff is really nice stuff and very reasonably priced. Severely underrated. But like, it was one of the first speakers where the manufacturer came out with their coaxials and said, by the way, these are biampable, And everyone was like, wait, what? Yeah, see these wires coming out of the back here? We put connectors on them instead of soldering them into the passive crossover. So you could just unplug them and hook an amplifier up. And everyone's just like,
that really? GS component set sounds pretty good. It's it's a reasonable price too. It's not too bad.
Dude, the 3-way set is the most reasonably priced 3-way set you're gonna find.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
little
so
6-channel DSP is not bad either. DSP amp.
sure.
For the price, I mean, you can't touch
It's
anything.
not a DSP amp. It's a radio and an amplifier. It's not a real DSP.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a toy.
It's
a
has
toy.
digital sound processing.
Okay. There again, it's one of the products that has a purpose, and if you use it for that, it's perfect.
Yeah. It's your wife's car stereo.
Oh yeah,
All
or
right there.
or if you have a car where you don't put a radio in the dash, or if you have a factory radio and it's like I would just like something that sounds better and I don't want to go full DSP crazy. You know, that's where like that crappy Pioneer DSP came in, and it was just like I don't really understand this.
Yeah, there's a PRS-80 without a screen.
Yeah, and you need it in order to unlock it. You have to pair it to a phone, otherwise it's just kind of like.
I'll tell you one. I didn't realize how expensive Wet Sounds is.
Yes.
My God, dude. Are they big sellers?
Wet Sound?
Yeah.
I mean, they are down here. We're not we were a Wet Sounds dealer for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And then that I can't talk about that.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with me, had nothing to do with us. It was just one of those things where it was like we were cannon fodder for the whole thing, and it was like not Smash Force, but you know, the actual physical 5-star, and it was just kind of like, oh, well, all right. I mean, whatever, it's cool. Side Jag, people tune in, sir. Definitely, you guys are going to want to tune in for Side Jag. It's going to start here at 9:45. We have Mr. Jeff Smith, the chocolate lovers in the house. So yeah, we'll be heading over there. Make sure you tune in. It is on Side Jag, the actual YouTube channel. So you're going to leave HifiVega's channel and you're going to head over and watch Side Jag. You get 15 minutes though to get up, shake the dew off the morning lily, and you know, all that other fun. Go
get some popcorn,
kiss the wife, beat the dog,
all that.
Beat the wife, stuff. Kiss the dog, whatever works for you. But yeah, no, I think this is the most we've talked about car audio in like a long time.
It's Side Jag's fault.
Yeah. Dean, what's the biggest amp I could put in a BMW 645 before I'd have to upgrade the electrical system? You just want to get something that's extremely efficient. That's really what it comes down to. Like for example, like the CS line of Kicker uses the boost power supply. It works down to 8.5 volts, and it still puts out power at 8.5 volts. So basically, what that's meaning, like if you put the 1200, or I think they even make a 2400. Do they make a big 18? They make an 1800 in the CS line.
1800.
And like even that, as long as you got batteries in the car, that thing's going to be putting out power, and it'll
beat that thing too. Like,
I
think is it rated for a 2-ohm load? It'll handle 1-ohm all day.
Yeah, I think it's a 1-ohm. I think all the CS are 1-ohm now. I think so because we just did an 800 today, and that was a 1-ohm rating.
Okay.
But you know, amps like that are super efficient and have these boost power supplies in them, which are typically your cheaper amplifiers. Branded cheaper amplifiers. Let me preface it with branded cheaper amplifiers, because if you look at like a no offense to Scar, but if you look at like a Scar 1500 and then you look at like the Kicker amplifier, the 1800 Kicker, the Kicker is obviously going to be more money, but the reason why it's more money is it has technology built into it and that power supply sections to make it more efficient and actually make it play. Whereas that RP, as soon as that battery voltage goes down, or as soon as it gets into a stressful situation, it goes.
Yeah,
and there it's nothing that Scar. It's just the design of the amplifier technology. This is what you're paying for. So you know the CS amplifiers aren't that expensive, and in a similar amplifier, if you're like I don't like Kicker, perfectly acceptable. You could also look at the Rockford R2 primes, or if you want to go like. I'm a BMW owner, seriously. Maybe not power wise, but like what we like to do in the BMWs is we like to go with the Mini T's. We like to go with the Mini T 750.1 from Rockford. It's a 900 watt amp. Put that on like a 12 or a nice set of 10s, and it's wonderful. But if you're just looking for something big,
Rockford in your car. I mean, Rockford's always you're going to be pleasantly surprised most of the time with most Rockford stuff.
I think you're pleasantly surprised all the time with Rockford stuff. It's just there again. It's what are you looking for? You know, the Mini T amplifiers are designed to be a premium amplifier in a situation that sucks. You know, because they're originally designed to go on side by sides. Side by sides have crappy electrical systems. So put that in a modern car that has a decent electrical system. They shine like diamonds, baby.
Yeah, that's that. You know, that kicker amp, that 2400. We were dipping down low 11s. That's danger territory for a lot of Korean amps.
Dude, let me tell you what. That 2400, when we ran it on the quad box in Haley's car,
yeah,
that never got what it wanted. I can tell you that right now. That was never a happy amplifier. We were feeding the preamp section on that with the Key 501. So we had 6 volts of input going to it. We literally just draped a 0 gauge off of the factory battery into that thing. We just kept the engine running when it was playing. I mean, it was, dude, it was literally, she'd have to get in and crawl over the 0 gauge that we ran to it. You
went full Basshead. You never go full Basshead.
We didn't screw the amplifier in anything. It was literally just sitting in the back of the car because the box took up so much room. There was enough room between the box and the side of the car to stand the amplifier up, and it wasn't going to go anywhere. So I was like, all right, cool, just set it there. Who cares? So I mean, it was full ghetto. Who cares, man? I mean, you know, it hit. It hit 149s without trying. You know,
wow.
So if we would have had a real battery in there, and you know, whatever. We weren't trying. We were just like, we wanted to have fun, and we played that thing we played it in that parking lot for almost an hour, off of that shitty battery. You know, it cut out a couple times. No, it would cut out, but I would just play it off. You know, because I'd be like, whoa, what happened? Hey, stop playing with that, kids. Turn it down like one notch, give it a minute, play it, or go to the next song, and it would be fine. I'd be like, ha, yeah. Make it work. Yes.
I dropped a link to SideJag, and I'm dropping it again. If you guys want to check it out. What else should you? What do you want to pimp before we go?
I got nothing. Just go watch SideJag. That's all I got to say. Yeah. I got nothing happening. Tomorrow is going to be the Sub Pro all-in-one video, so there's nothing going on. Check out that other show I do with Haley. Oh yeah, The Boring Life. That's the name of it. God, there's a scene in there just for you, by the way.
Oh, okay.
There's a scene. I watch show. There's a scene in there just for you. So we had a fun time. You're gonna love it.
All right.
But with that, what do you got? What do you got to pimp?
Nothing, man. I don't even know what I'm going to do this week for a video. I've got stuff shot. I don't know what it's going to be, but there will be something. Most likely.
Always fun. God, that's always fun. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're going to stay tuned for SideJag, I'll see you then.